What's up guys, welcome back to another AMV tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use Premiere Pro and After Effects together to make an AMV. Before we get into this really quickly, I want to show you guys how I download my animes, because a lot of people in the comment sections of my last tutorials have been asking me this. And what I usually use is that I use GeForce Shadowplay to screen record the shows that I want. But if you don't have access to like a GeForce graphics card, so you don't have GeForce experience on your computer, really good website that you can use is this website called Anime Raw List. A subscriber actually recommended it to me. Just click here and you can find all the shows that you want. But yeah, with that out of the way, now we can start getting into this tutorial. We're going to start things off in Premiere. So first you're going to drag and drop your video clip into Premiere like that. What we're going to do is that we're going to click this, go over to unlink. Now we have these as two separate things. Now I'm going to go take our song, again, drag and drop it into Premiere. Now it might be helpful if you guys go watch my standalone videos for Premiere and After Effects before you come and watch this, so you kind of get like a feel for the softwares first, because I'm going to be going kind of fast here, and if you're brand new to using these together, it might be a little confusing. But if not, if you guys don't want to take the time to do that, that's fine, you can still follow along. Anyways, first thing that I like to do is that I'll move my video tracks out of the way so we only see our audio, and I like to drag this line down just like that and expand our waveform. First thing I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start placing markers on the beat. I like to mark up the bass. I really recommend you guys don't skip this process. Use markers, it's really helpful, especially when you start to bring things into After Effects. So I'll show you guys how I mark things. I'm going to come over here, and every time that there's a bass, I'm going to press M and place a marker. So, see that? There's bass. I hear the bass hits right there. So I'm going to select this, press M, put a marker down. Another bass right there, put a marker down. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark up this video really quickly. I'm going to speed it up so you guys can see my process, and yeah, I'll get back to you guys in a second. Okay, so I have a few markers down. That should be enough for the tutorial. Like you guys saw, it could be a little bit of trial and error. You have to zoom in to see what's going on sometimes. But yeah, it's a really helpful process, and I promise you it'll help in the long run. So definitely use markers. Now, what we're going to use Premiere Pro for, before we go into After Effects, is chopping up our video clip. So the nice part about Premiere is that it's super streamlined. It's super easy to just chop your clip into different pieces, get your timeline all nice and neat. So what we're going to do is that we're going to get rid of all the crap in this video that we don't want, like say the intro and stuff. We don't want the intro, and we're going to get rid of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll through my video a bit. I'll bring it over to the beginning of the timeline just so it doesn't confuse you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to where the intro is, right? We don't want that intro, so I'm just going to press Control K to cut, and I'm going to go to where the intro ends. So I'll press Control K to cut it out like that. Then just delete the part that you don't like. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this clip up and get rid of the stuff that I don't like. And I'll speed that process up again so you guys can see how I do it, and I'll be back with you guys in a second. Okay, so as you saw, I didn't get rid of a whole lot, but I got rid of the stuff that I didn't want to take into After Effects with us, and I kind of got a feel for what I want to be, for what I want in this edit. So I really like this fight scene right here. Okay, it starts right about there. So I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna click on my clip and I'm gonna press M. So we're gonna have this marked up for when we take this into After Effects. Now, pretty much this is where I stop when I'm working with Premiere Pro. It's pretty much that easy. I just mark up my stuff and I chop up my clips, and once I'm done with that, I pretty much take things into After Effects right away to get the real editing done. So the way you do that is that you highlight everything you want to take into After Effects with you, right click, and you're going to click Replace with After Effects Composition. Okay, so now that you've made that an After Effects composition, if you go into Premiere Pro, you're going to notice that everything you selected for that After Effects composition is going to be red. And the really cool thing about this dynamic link is that anything you do to this video in Premiere will show up in After Effects, and anything you do to the video in After Effects will then show up in Premiere. So it's super streamlined, and it makes it really easy for us to go back and forth between the programs and see what we like and see what we don't like. So the first thing we want to do, obviously, is start our synchronization process. So we're going to zoom in. I see where these markers are, and for the sake of this tutorial, oh, here's a really good thing to note. If you hear that, the audio is really quiet. And this is a weird glitch that happens in After Effects sometimes. Even in the newest version, this glitch still happens, where the audio is really quiet in After Effects, but then in Premiere, the audio is not quiet. So if you're going to be exporting your video from After Effects and not from Premiere, I would definitely recommend going into After Effects, click this drop down arrow right there, audio, and then you can crank the audio level up. Let's just see how 15 sounds. Okay, for now that'll work. But yeah, if you ever encountered that glitch, I know a lot of people have, all you have to do is go into your audio and change the audio level, just bump it up a little bit. But like I was saying, we're going to want to start a synchronization process. I already got an idea of what I want to be in our video. Like I said, I placed a marker there. So we can go over here to where this marker was. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to press Control-Shift-D to split the clip. Now I'm going to take the clip that we want. It's over here on this side, and I'm going to drag this down, and then I'm going to press Control to highlight both of these clips. And for now, since I'm not using them, I'm just going to press the eye icon to toggle their visibility, and I'm just going to drag them over here. And then I'm going to take the clip that I want to start with, and I'll drag it back here. Okay, so now that we drag that back, we can go and we can find where we want our video to start. For me, I'm going to just start it right on the action, just for the sake of time, right on the first base. That's where I want my action to start. So really quickly, we'll go ahead. Let's see. Boom, right there. Control-Shift-D, and I'll just delete this. Now we'll go to our marker, line this up with the marker. Now our action is going to start at the base, so let's go to the next base. And what I like to do, obviously you can edit this however you want, but what I usually do in my edits, my method is that I'll jump to a different angle, or like a different part of the scene, if you know what I mean. So for that base, I'll jump to that right there, Control-Shift-D, get rid of that. Now as you can see, we're going to have a jump on the base, so watch this. Alright, dope. And I'm just going to do that really quickly to the rest of my markers, and I'll speed that forward for the sake of time, but you can still watch me do it. Alright, cool. So I cut it up. I brought out the stuff that I wanted. I'll show you how that looks really quick. Alright, sweet. So nothing fancy yet, but we'll get there. Now the first effect I'm going to show you guys is a basic zoom in, zoom out transition. We're gonna go to where we want our transition to start, or we're gonna go to where we want the first transition to happen. I'm gonna press S on the keyboard, and I'm gonna press this stopwatch icon to toggle the scale. I'm gonna go back about 6 or 7 frames, and I'm gonna press that button right there. So now I'm gonna click here to go to this keyframe, and I'm gonna change the scale to 250. Also, my bad if the keyboard's really loud. I keep seeing people in the comments saying like, why is he typing so aggressively? Nah, I'm not hitting the keys too hard. I promise. It's a mechanical keyboard. So yeah, my bad if the keys are loud. But yeah, anyways, now that we have that at 250, we're gonna highlight both the keyframes, press F9, toggle Easy Ease. We're gonna go into our graph editor. Make sure that you're editing the value graph and not the speed graph. Yeah, so make sure you come over here. Now we're gonna click that. Drag that down like that. Drag this over. Now let's see how that looks. Yeah, so super quick zoom in transition. Now we're gonna come to our next clip. We're gonna press S again. This time, we're gonna change the first scale to 40. Then we're gonna go 6-7 frames forward again, and then change the scale to 100. Go over here, look up motion tile, drag motion tile on, click mirror edges, make both of these about 400, something like that will work nice. Now we're gonna go highlight our keyframes, press F9. Make your graph look like that. Also, I almost forgot to do this. Make sure you toggle motion blur for all your clips. There, now it looks much better. Let's take a look at how that is turning out. Alright, cool. And also you saw there's a little bit of playback lag. If you ever get that, just switch your resolution down to like half or a quarter or something. It'll make it really easy for your computer to render the video, so yeah. Next effect I'm going to show you guys is the Twitch effect. You're going to need to download the Twitch plugin. It's really easy to do, just look up a tutorial on YouTube, but yeah. We're going to search up Twitch, we're going to drag it right here. Now what we're going to do, so we're going to go down to enable slide. Then we're going to go down to operator controls, go down to slide. We're going to change this to something like 200. Next, we're going to come up, we're going to change the amount. So I like to do 50, but if you're going for like a really edgy, really shaky look, you can do it at 100 or higher. We're going to toggle that keyframe. We're going to go about 6 or 7 frames forward. And now what we're going to do is that we're going to click on our video, press U, and U opens up all of your keyframes that you have on that video clip. So now I'm going to go over and I'm going to press this to make another keyframe on that Twitch, and I'm going to change the amount to 0. Now we're going to go into our graph editor by making these Easy E's, highlight those, press F9 again, and kind of like we did for the zoom transition, we're gonna go like that. Make it look something like that. You can mess around with this to get like the velocity and the speed that you like. Let's take a look at how that turned out. Yes, that's dope. I like that. Alright, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste some of these effects into different spots in our timeline. I'll show you really quick how I do that. So I'm going to take this zoom in transition, Control C to copy, obviously, select our next clip, Control V to paste, get these keyframes back where we want them. Now we have that zoom in. Now I don't really want a zoom out transition for this part since it's really short. It's not many frames long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select our Twitch, Control C to copy it, and because I do want the twitch effect to be on this clip, I'm going to press Control V to paste. But we're not going to see a whole lot right now because there isn't that zoom out transition. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to press U, make sure that we have this keyframe selected. I'm going to bump up the amount to something like 200. Now, you can't really notice it right now, but it will be more twitchy for that duration. And if you are changing your amount like that, go into your graph editor. You can kind of bump it back down because your graph is going to look different if you edit it. If you edit this amount right here. So cool. That looks good. I'm going to take our zoom in transition again. And I think I'm just going to put that on this clip again. So press U. Excuse me, sometimes it happens. Press U. Put that scale right there. Now what I'll do is that I'll take the zoom out transition this time, copy and paste, put it in right there. Oh, looks like I messed that up. I accidentally did the wrong transition. Copy and paste that. Again, if you ever get these black bars or this black area on the side, it's because you don't have motion tile on it. Alright, cool. So that'll be enough for now. You guys get the idea. You can copy and paste different clips into different effects and different transitions across your timeline to save yourself some time. And yeah, so let's get on to the next effect. So the next effect I'm going to show you is the wiggle effect. This is really popular in a lot of AMVs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new adjustment layer by right-clicking somewhere over here. Go into New, Adjustment Layer. I'll rename this Wiggle because that is the effect I will be showing you how to do. Now what we're going to do is that actually before I put the wiggle on, I'm going to make sure all of our clips have motion tile on it, which I haven't done yet. So mirror edges, 400, 400. You can just copy and paste this onto everything. This one has motion tile, this one doesn't, we'll put it on. This one does, this one doesn't, we'll put it on. Okay, so before you do the wiggle effect, make sure you have motion tile on. But now that you do, wiggle, the first one I like to do is position. And basically what the wiggle effect does is that it's going to make the clip move around in different ways. Obviously the position one is going to be adjusting its position. So if you can like see that right there, the clip's being moved a little bit by this effect. Now because it's a pretty fast-paced song and a fast-paced clip, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to our speed. I'm going to change the speed to something faster like 1.5. And yeah, that should make a pretty cool effect. Next one I like to do is I like to do rotation. So drag the rotation on, and I like to make it really subtle. So what I usually do is I make my wiggle amount something really subtle like 2. Not a lot of rotation. And again, we can crank it up to 1.5 if we want it to be faster. And the last one I like to do is scale. Drag that on. And I like to make this something like 2%. And this something like 2%. And we can leave the wiggle speed at 1. We might even want to crank it down because sometimes it makes it look really weird. But yeah, those are roughly the settings I used for faster paced edits like this. So let's take a look at how it turned out. Alright, cool. So next, I'm going to be showing you the S flicker effect. You're going to have your Sapphire plugins installed for this. So new adjustment layer. Gonna rename this flicker. Now I'm gonna look up flicker and I'm put it on like that. Got a little bit of lag, and I like to make the amplitude maybe like 0.075. That's usually a good amount. So I'm gonna crank our resolution down to 1/4 so it runs easier. But as you see, we get that flickering effect like that. Again, you can mess around with these settings. I'm not gonna mess around with it a whole lot just for the sake of this tutorial, but I usually keep my random frequency between 20 and 40, and this is usually the amplitude I use in most of my edits. So the next effect I'll show you is a crop effect. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna click over here again, new. This time we're gonna create a solid, and we'll name this crop. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look up jaws, drag jaws onto the clip, make the height 0%, the completion I'm gonna make it 85%, but that means we're gonna have a 15% crop if your completion is at 85%, if that makes sense. So right here we're gonna have a 15% crop. Say I made this 80, now it's a 20% crop, but I usually like to have it around 15%, so I'll keep it right there. Now let's see how our video looks. Alright, cool. So you might have noticed that I haven't put any transitions or any effects on this clip right here. And that's because I want to show you an effect that would be unique to this clip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank our resolution up to full. I'm going to come over here to effect. I'm going to come down to keying, and I'm going to choose key light 1.2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this right here, and I'm going to select the blue. Now this effect only works if you have one solid color in your edit. So like you can see, there's this one solid blue color, and I can use that to my advantage for this effect. So yeah, I selected that, and now with this effect what you can do is that you can basically use it as a masking tool to put another clip underneath this layer, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll go over here, and I kind of like this video clip. So, excuse me, I'll show you how you can drag another video clip in really quick. Make sure you're in your project panel, and you have to drag the clip in like that. And now once it's in there, you can drag it down into our timeline. I'm gonna toggle the volume because I don't really want the volume. And we can just, alright, that looks kind of cool. So I'll get rid of it. Control Shift D, and it right there. Control Shift D. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of videos that this effect would look good in, but it's a really simple thing to do, so I want to show you guys. But this is what it looks like. So now you have that kind of like overlay effect in a way on your clip. Alright, sweet. So now that I did that, we can put some effects on it. I didn't want to put like the Twitch effect on it before we did the keying, because sometimes it messes with After Effects, but we can go ahead, we can put Twitch on that, go into our effects control panel, Control C, copy Twitch, paste Twitch here, and yeah, we should be good to go. Okay, cool. So now that we're done with this, we're going to go back into Premiere so I can show you guys what it looks like back in the Premiere Pro timeline. So we're going to come in, and we're going to notice that now our timeline's changed. So the start of this is black, and I notice that the video track starts about 17 seconds in. So in Premiere, we can go about 17 seconds in, and look at that, there's our video track. So the nice part about using Premiere and After Effects together is that, let's say I don't want this black area there anymore, we can just take that out, Control K, and let's say I only want to preview this section, the section we just edited, before it gets to the black area, the part that we haven't edited, I can press I and O to select that area. So I right there, and then O at the end, and now this is selected. And what we can do is that we can go to sequence and we can click render into out. Alright, cool. So now you'll notice that this is green up here again. If it's green, that basically means that's all rendered and your computer is going to be happy. So it's really nice because then we can preview it in full resolution, in full screen. You can get to full screen by pressing the squiggly key. Press that key, you can full screen it, and now we can view our rendered selection. Alright, dope. And then we can go ahead, and when you have this area selected, this is also the area that's selected for your export process. So you can be in Premiere and export this from Premiere just by going to File and down to Export. And I don't want to go into export settings because it'll make this video too long, but you can find plenty of those. I also have the export settings in my previous Premiere Pro video if you want to watch that. But yeah, besides that, that's how you use Premiere Pro and After Effects together with the dynamic link. And yeah, other than that, have a good day and peace out.